What's old is new again in the Culinary Nunnsense kitchen, and not just in my kitchen. This idea of sous vide cooking is taking off. I've been seeing it in cooking magazines as well as even some of the places that sell the equipment. You may be saying, what's sous vide? Basically, it means cooking in a vacuum, or to take products, food, vacuum pack it so that it's ready to go into water, and also it cooks it a bit more evenly and effectively because the entire thing is going to be submerged in water. And yes, you can even do it with meat. And this is going to be a pork tenderloin, which is how this whole thing came about. Now, the important part here when we're doing sous vide cooking is temperature. When you're doing vegetables, like we'll use the old crock pot for, these are pretty good. You get them up to heat and then you turn them down either to low or keep warm, and they'll hold temperature at about 185 degrees. Perfect for cooking vegetables. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, when it comes to meat, you could get one of those immersion pumps that controls the heat and everything else, but they're very expensive. You already have a stove. If you have an old roaster, or maybe somebody gave you a fish cooking dish when you got married, you know, the oblong looking thing, you can use those too. The key temperature for this is how well do you want the meat done. Rare, you're going to go a cooler temperature, about 130. For something more well done, you're going to push it up to about 145, 150 degrees. So we've already got one going here, and that'll be our demo. But I want to show you just how easy this is to put together and to pull off the perfectly cooked, in this case, pork tenderloin, but it's also pretty good on steaks too. So let's get started first with the meat, and then we'll move to the vegetables. Now, as I mentioned, if you have one of these food savers, they work great, and you've already gone through the process, so you know how to vacuum pack this. But if you don't have one, but you still want to try perfectly cooked meat, you can use a Ziploc. And I recommend the name brands here. Don't skip on some of the groceries type, because, and I'll tell you, these are BPA free. They're also made of a different type of material that allows them to go into warm water, not boiling water now, but warm water, without getting any of the plastic leaching. We also have to add some flavors here. So to it, I'm a fan of garlic when it comes to pork, so I'll add some garlic. I also want some fresh herbs. We've got some thyme and some oregano. I like a little bit of a spicy rub, so this is just one that I picked up at a grocery store also. And because there's not a lot of fat here when it comes to pork tenderloin, I'm going to add a little bit, but we're going to do it with something that has its own flavor, and that's going to be some good olive oil. Now, in the bag, I want to mix this up just like you would if you were going to be doing a rub, and we're going to get it to coat all the way around here. You'll see the herbs and the garlic and the rub beginning to stick all over the pork. We'll keep this up until it's fully coated, and then this thing is going to take a swim for about an hour. Gonna get in the hot tub. One of the important steps here, since this one doesn't have, you know, the actual vacuum packer, they do make one with a little hand pump that you can vacuum these down, but if you don't have one, never fear. Close it all the way until you have just a little pinch left at the end, and you can let a little physics do the work here. By putting this in the water's going to close all the way around the meat, and it's going to help to create its own seal. So watch as the meat rolls around, and the water's a little warm, so you can do this with tongs if you'd like to, or even a spoon. But you see the air coming to the top. Continue to roll it into, and there you go, the rest of the air squeezing out. And then lower this part all the way over to the water's edge here. And right at the very edge, seal it, open it. You'll see that you got your vacuum there. Once the pork is in the water, or any meat for that matter, however you want to cook it, medium well, medium, rare, those temperatures are what you want the water set at. So we're going with a medium here for the pork. So I've got 140 degree water, going to let that swim for about an hour and a half. Now, veggies, on the other hand, don't need as much time. So here's where the timing comes in for getting the meats ready. These take about 5 to 10 minutes in 185 degree water temperature. Remember, sous vide is about soaking in a hot tub, not about boiling, well, in a hot tub. After we've sliced them and they've been in the water bath, you can see that these are perfectly done, just a little bit of pink on the inside, but they still look a little anemic and maybe not as appetizing as you want to the eye. So how do we fix it? With a quick pan sear. We got a nice hot pan over here, just a little bit of oil. Oh, I like that sizzle. We're gonna caramelize the tops and bottoms of these, and as these get a little color to them, we'll finish off our vegetables, and then we'll put them on the plate. After a couple of minutes on each side, there you go. Your tenderloins have a nice bit of caramelization on the outside, but on the middle, they are still perfectly pink. And listen, it's not just about the tenderloin here. You can do this with any kind of meat, T-bones, ribeyes. tenderloin, going back to the idea here, you could do this with a filet mignon if you'd like. And when I mean that you can get it perfect, if you like a medium steak, a rare steak, a medium well, and all the levels in between, temperature's the key. The instant read thermometer is going to be your help. I know there were a few extra steps to get this done, but Culinary Nunnsense isn't about getting rid of steps. It's about making things better and maybe just a little easier. So you can see we're talking time, a water bath, a thermometer to cook the meat here. And you can do anything, not just pork. And when we're talking about being perfectly done, as tender as can be, in just the faint color of pink on the inside. And what this isn't is some dried out piece of pork tenderloin. This is juicy, perfectly cooked. And the flavor is all the way through instead of just stuck to the outside because it had time to basically marinate and swim. Oh my gosh, that's good. In that deliciousness. So what do you need? Water, time, a thermometer, some brand name zip top type of bags. If you have a food saver, you can use these too, but they're a little pricey and so are the bags. So I encourage you to take some time, get yourself a stovetop hot tub and let your meat and your vegetables do a little swimming, sous vide style. And I think when you do, and then you give it its final sear or a little pat of butter, you two will be saying, when it comes to sous vide style 18th century cooking in the 21st century, there is none better.